So, I mean, that's pretty much it for today. It's been a great pleasure demonstrating some of the stuff we know and some of the stuff I've learned over the years. And a really big thank you to my whole crew here. You've been absolutely brilliant, all of you. You've put a sterling effort into this. And actually, some of the drills we've worked, I haven't rehearsed with them before, so they were going into that cold. So well done to you and hats off to you for that. One thing I will say, and I see this quite often in tournaments, is can everyone extend their hands forward? Good. They're all wearing hand wraps. I see it all too often when people go to tournaments and they don't wear hand wraps. A hand wrap is like wearing a seatbelt in a car. If you don't wear it, especially if you start doing full contact, you're causing all types of irreparable damage to your joints. You can cause a lot of damage there. So one thing that I would suggest, I mean, obviously for anyone that takes their fighting seriously, get a good head guard that fits, that doesn't swing around too much. Get a good professional gum shield that allows you to breathe correctly. Make sure, obviously, your training attire is good. But more importantly, make sure you get a good set of hand wraps. And this is especially evident when you start training for fights and you're doing heavy bag work on big bags and you're throwing shots against the bag and then you get this little sprain on your wrist that lasts 3 or 4 weeks. So it's important to wear the wrap. It also means that a lot of the sweat coming off your body doesn't go into the glove and it goes into the hand wrap itself. And if you notice, I cross over the knuckles and then I wrap around the wrist, the thumb, and the knuckles, and that's really important areas to protect within the body. Another thing I like to cover as well is eating correctly before tournaments. A lot of people, I've seen this all too often. I've been away with WACO, with the ISK and with different organizations, and the day before people fight sometimes, this is after like 5 or 6 hard weeks of training, the day before people fight, they're putting literally junk food into their body. They're looking for the local McDonald's or Burger King or whatever the fast junk food shop is. That's stuff that you should not be putting into your body. As a treat, after the fight or fights, it's certainly worth doing it, but before the tournament, that's certainly nothing that should be done. So go online, have a look at techniques that athletes use and foods that athletes use to eat prior to tournaments. It really does help. And I'm not going to go in depth into it now. It's another story and I'm not a nutritionist, but I know what works for my body and what doesn't work. Also, I mean, another thing that I'd really like to cover, and it's something I instill in all my fighters, is the art of being a humble warrior. You know, that's one thing is messing around with your friends and toying around, but another thing is representing your clan, your fighting warriors, going into tournament and not presenting yourself correctly. And I'm not talking about the clothes you wear, but the way you look and the way you feel when you're competing. I personally always suggest that if you go into tournaments, don't go in with this big snarling face, walking around like you want to kill someone, because that's not the nature of the game. This is a competitive sport that is like a game of chess. And let's be honest, 99% of the fights any of us ever have, as soon as that final bell goes, what do? You hug the person. It's nothing more than an art form. And one thing that's important is, as soon as you look at it as a game of chess, it takes a certain grey cloud off your head and it takes this sort of like this darkness away from you, and it just makes you understand and comprehend the game as this beautiful visual light of movement. That's something to really take on board and always keep it with you. So being a humble warrior is important. Whether you win or lose, you've got to show respect, because there's always tomorrow. And you know what? A lot of the times these things are going to define you, and they're going to define you and your club to those around you and those that are looking at you. So that's one trait to remember. So the one thing that I've realized over the 22 to 25 years that I've been training for 25, but properly competing for 22 years. And for the last 2 or 3 years, I've been semi-retired. The one thing I've really realized is that you've got to work on your strengths. It would be illogical not to. But more important, you need to work on your weaknesses. And all too often in this game, I see a very good kicker that can't box, or vice versa, a very good boxer that can't kick. You've got to work on your weaknesses, because at some stage, when you're in tournament, you're going to be found out for those things. So it's really important to work on these things. And sometimes it seems like hard work and we get into our comfort zone and we can just keep people away on the end of a side kick, or we can close people down and work them with hooks. but you want to be a versatile, fully accommodating fighter that can adapt to anything around them. And that's something that at Paragon we try to bring into all our fighters. And that's talking about kicking and punching. Another thing where versatility comes in is what you do with your feet and your footwork. So that's really important. Staggered ladder drills where you're working coordination in and out. Skipping drills are very good for coordination. And agility sprint drills with cones can work quite well. That's another story, another time that we could maybe cover. But you've got to be as versatile as possible with this. And also, I would suggest quite often, give yourself or your clients, if you're as an instructor and you're working with this, give them different traits to work on. For 1 month, just work on body punching. For another month, work on your spinning techniques, and make sure they get that until they actually get to the point where they can master it. This will obviously give them a better understanding of the fighting system that we love and train in. So I'd like to finish off by just really thanking my crew here. They've given themselves a whole day with me. They've had to get swept, get punched, do all sorts of things to each other. So a round of applause for you guys. Well done. Thank you for representing Paragon Kickboxing. I'm very proud of you. Feet together. Us. Thank you. And let's say goodbye to the gang out there as well. I hope you've enjoyed this. Take it easy. Yes.